Hey guys, Carlin's on the call.
Hey, how's it going? We're working really hard over
Hey
here.
Carlin, how's it going?
Hey, Carlin. How's it going?
Okay, so this is episode 0025. My name is Carlin Trammell, and we're talking about The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977 film.
My name's Aaron
This
Nix.
is Roger Moore's third entry into
Carlin, hey.
the franchise.
Hey.
Fun fact about this movie, this is
Are you
the
there?
first James Bond movie to come out after I was born.
Guys, does he know we're here?
Oh, yeah, I know you're here. I know you're here. I just thought I would try and pick up
Oh,
the
hey Carlin, how's it going?
Just thought I'd try and pick up the slack this time.
Pick up the slack. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? We're just hanging out. We're having I'm having some chips.
You're hanging out. You're hanging out. I mean, the download numbers aren't really hitting the goals that I had set for you, so I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's...
Listen, Carlin, let's get realistic. I think when we first started this podcast, we talked about how we had only 5 listeners. I mean, do you think that something has drastically changed where we have 6 million listeners?
Look, I'm confident
just
that
relax,
the marketing...
just chill.
Well,
Just chill.
I'm waiting, so I'm still waiting on a marketing plan from my this marketing firm that I'm working with that I met through the podcast mastermind group. And she's going to deliver to me a marketing plan, and it's going to turn this show
No,
around.
you can finish my
Now,
chips. You
the
can finish
fact
the
that I
bag.
have to
I'll
rely
take
on her
Here, take
to do
this.
this, that's very
Take that.
disappointing. It's very disappointing
man.
that
Scott,
I
just take it.
have to go outside
best
of
chips I've ever
the
had.
team here. And I can't rely on you and the people that you're working with, whoever those people are, to get
What do you
our
mean,
numbers
whoever
up.
these people are? You know who these people are? You
Yeah.
got Scott? Scott, say hi.
Hey, Colin, what's up?
Scott says hi. Got Bama Dog. You know who Bama Dog is.
Yes, I do.
And you have John.
Things are going
I don't
pretty
know who
well
John
here at the
is.
Nebraska headquarters.
And sometimes a couple other people come in and out because we need some freelance work. And I know you don't believe in freelancers, but sometimes we need a little help in some departments. So we can admit that. We can admit that we need some help. So to get the job done, that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do, Colin. And I know you hired this outside marketing firm without my approval or Bama Dog's approval. I know they demand 6 million hits or listens or whatever they want, but we're building a fan base here. Okay? We're getting a lot of traction.
How's the book coming? Have you written any of the book?
The book is on hold right now.
No, it's not. The book's not on hold. The book's never been on hold.
Maybe
We're
for
supposed to be
you,
writing
maybe
the book.
we are concerned about things that are actually relevant and that are important right now. And Bama Dog doesn't feel like the book is serving him or doing any good right now. So you can keep writing the book,
well,
doing
I mean,
whatever you
I-
want, and send
I
it on
disagree.
over.
Let's
The Bama
see.
Dog can sign it. He can give his paw print, and
Roger
I can
Moore
put my
was
I
a
can put my
Bond.
Renard poetry in there.
Roger Moore has a book. So I would think that if you really expect that Bama Dog's ever going to be a James Bond, then maybe he needs to have a book first.
Roger Moore wrote the book after he was James Bond.
Details.
Here you go.
Thanks for the peppy.
You're welcome.
Sorry, you said details?
Yeah, details, whatever.
So have you been writing? What have you been writing about?
I've been writing.
Was that a question?
Yeah, no.
Was there a question mark at the end of that?
No, I've been writing. Been writing? Yeah.
Did you get some deleted again, or
No,
do you not have
no.
anything?
Just,
What
you know,
about? What are you writing about?
James Bond. Of course, what else?
What about James Bond? Give me the title of a chapter.
I don't write that way. I don't write based, like the title of a chapter. I write.
Okay,
and
read
then-
me a sentence.
No, it's not ready yet. It's not ready. No, it's not ready.
How many marker boards do you have around you right now? And no low end exaggeration.
7? Because I'm counting the one on the door, like the one outside the door. So that's 7. Like 6 here, and then there's the 7th one out there.
Are you still the only one there? You haven't hired anybody since.
No, but to me, it's not about finding just somebody to do the job. It's about finding somebody who wants to be here. It's about finding
Zoom
somebody
in.
who's
Zoom in.
Okay,
No. That's
let me.
no.
got the right fit
You gotta get that
for
shot.
the culture. You know, I'm not looking for somebody who
Tilt down.
is here for a
Tilt down.
paycheck. I want somebody who's here because they believe. They
Sorry.
believe in Pod James Pod. They believe in
I get-
who James
I
Pod is.
got a high schooler here. He's reached out to us and he's making a little mini documentary. He's filming us around the office.
What?
And yeah, he's really motivated. He's been trying to get me like do different shots, like walk into the building. Oh, let's do that again. Let's walk into the building again. And me with Bama Dog and everything. He's doing a little mini documentary of our little.
Well, like, don't you think that I should be a part of the
creative
documentary?
process, our little creative
Hey,
process.
hey, stop.
I'm trying to
I
get
should
him.
be-
I'm
should
trying
be
to get
part-
him to record the podcast recording here. So, like the fact that I'm talking about him now, of course, we don't edit anything, so this will be in the podcast episode. But he may not use.
Well,
this
I think
part of the
you could
episode.
edit this part out. You could go ahead and edit this part out.
We don't do that here, and Danny doesn't. He's
Danny.
making a documentary,
No,
so
just- I'm rolling. I'm just gonna keep.
he's trying to
rolling.
get the truth. So you just tilt down.
Tilt down on what? I don't understand.
Well, it sounds like you have to direct him. I mean, like if he's making the
What do you-
documentary, then, like,
no. He just needs some pointers, and we're experts. So like I say, he's a high school kid.
I know. But, like,
And
don't you
we,
think you
we
ought to
always
be?
talked about high school kid making movie Pod James Pod feature.
Yeah, but we had
He
talked
could
about.
be the guy. He could be the one that makes the movie about
We
us.
talked about how we would both be in it. Like it'd be me and Pierce
I want
Brosnan
it.
playing you. How are you
Yeah.
in it? You're not in.
Pierce
Like, I'm not
Brosnan
even
would be
there.
me.
I'm not even there.
You're not even there. He hasn't written it yet. I'm trying to get him on board. I'm slowly revealing the Pod James Pod story to him. He's just learning.
I'm a filmmaker.
It takes
Carlin.
years to become an expert like us.
What do you mean the Pod James Pod story? Like there's nothing to it.
Story.
We just
But
get
there's nothing
on-
to it.
We
What
never
are you?
get on.
You're not dedicated to this
we
podcast.
get on. We call each
talking
other.
about?
The three co-hosts
There's
get on a
nothing to it.
podcast and we talk about James Bond and nothing else. I mean,
Listen,
like, how do you
we
make a
get into the
documentary out of that?
nitty-gritty. Don't underestimate. You
Let's
want 6 million.
focus on
You want
what-
6 million listeners.
yeah, let's
and yet
focus
you
on
say
that,
Our
not
podcast
on
isn't worth a little
documentaries.
mini documentary.
Hey, let me walk in the door 6 different times, 6
ready
different
to get
ways.
started.
Hey,
It's
why
so
are
Listen,
you not
that's-
out there
that's just-
emailing
that's just
people
what
saying,
happens.
hey, download our show?
You don't need to worry about it. We're gonna take care of all of it, and you can take the credit for it, just like you always do in your inner circles, businesses, and mastermind groups or whatever. Take the credit for it, but we're doing the work. I'm sorry that he has to see this side of our conversation.
I love it.
But we're being honest here. And if there's anything that our listeners, especially Janice, appreciates, it's
Oh, so
our honesty.
Janice is a listener again?
Yeah, she is. So she wrote me a lengthy letter. I think I got it about a week and a half ago. It says, let me get it out. It says, "Dear Aaron."
Wait, was there a sigh in there? Like you, or did you add that?
Yeah, no, it's just implied. I know the way. I'm. This is Janice's voice. I know Janice. Okay, we have. Just listen. It says, "Dear Aaron, I'm glad you're back. Keep up your good work.
What?
Sincerely, Janice."
I'm glad you're back.
That's a. No, it says, "Keep up your good work."
What was she sighed?
Lengthy. There is a lot of subtext there that
Yeah, well, it's
we don't have
okay.
time to go into.
No, let's go into it.
No,
I mean,
we don't have time to go into.
I think we do.
Obviously,
do.
she's a fan of what we've been doing, what
Obviously,
we've been
I wouldn't
accomplishing.
say that, but go ahead.
She's a fan of the website. She
You and
has
me?
been. She's been seeing our stuff on TV. She's been seeing stuff around town, and she obviously listened to our last episode, and she knows that 100% of the great ideas are coming from our office, and that whatever you're doing in Tallahassee just isn't all that useful. I think the sigh is implying that her silence from the Die Another Day episode month.
Well, she was stunned
was
in
heavy.
the silence because
It was heavy on her heart because she missed us. She missed the episode. She missed Pod James Pod.
What does that mean? She missed it. We did a
Listen,
show.
I
We did
don't
a
have
show
to, I
every
don't have
month.
the time. I don't have the time to go into it, into Janice's
We do a show.
the turmoil
every,
that's going on.
When do
inside
we
of her.
release the show? Every 007th of the month.
Listen, that's not a guarantee either. We said from 001, it's no guarantee that
I
we're going
know.
to do
I
one
know
every
it's not
month.
a guarantee, but
And-
we've had a remarkable track record, and I think we should be applauded. And by we, I mean me.
Oh, I get applauded all the time. What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I'm talking about our podcast.
Yeah, I get applauded all the time.
All right. Well, our show
I don't
didn't go
think-
anywhere. We did a Die Another Day episode a couple months back. We were
I don't
there.
think
We
I
did a
don't think
show.
our work goes unnoticed. I think maybe your work goes unnoticed.
Well, sometimes how like
So
they
we've been
say-
really busy trying
they
to
say
get
good
out the
design
Bama
is
Dog
invisible?
as what?
Because good design is invisible. It's unnoticed because you don't even think
Yeah.
about it. It's just there. Like if you
But
if you
we're
stop
getting-
and think about like, oh well, that's really designed well.
But
Well,
there's
as soon
always
as
a
you've thought
small-
about it, like it's
there's
not really
always
designed well.
there's always a small percentage.
So my work going
of
unnoticed
people
is a great compliment.
There's always
I
a
take
small
that
percentage
as a
of people
compliment.
that notice that sort of work, or that has the critical eye to notice that work, and those are the vocal minority, and that's the vocal minority that is reaching out to me, and I assume there are a lot more fans who see the work or doesn't notice it, but the people that do notice it are writing
Well,
to me.
you know what it's time for?
So-
it's time for our goals of 6 million people. So we're not talking about the vocal minority anymore. We're talking about the vocal majority. We're talking about 6 million downloads, and that's
you're talking about going mainstream.
when this marketing firm gets me the marketing plan. You'll see.
How much are we paying? How much is our retainer with them?
We don't have a retainer. It's just a plan we've got in place. It's kind of a retainer. It's not really a retainer. It's sort of a retainer, but not really. Kind of.
Who's
Little
another? Who are Little Black Rock's other clients?
Are you eating chips while we podcast?
Listen, we are a very chill group over here. We're eating chips.
Do you remember way back on episode 1 when I very politely, with my podcasting etiquette, I spit my gum out. I didn't want to be chewing while we podcasted.
Is that what you did when you almost overdosed on pistachios?
But why did I do that? Because it was about James Bond. All we do is talk about James Bond. I was making a point about a character in a movie. We were talking about For Your Eyes Only, and I was making a point about a character.
Yeah, Colin's getting mad. Take those away. Okay.
Oh, pass those chips over here. Carlin's upset again, guys. Carlin's upset again.
What is that about? What is that? What is
Danny,
that? What is that?
don't touch that
Worries
and touch the
about this, I
camera.
understand.
Bama Dog, sir.
What is that? Carlin's getting
Please
mad.
get in the show.
Carlin's getting mad.
Thank you.
What is that? What is that?
Listen, there may or may not be some inside jokes that involve you, and I think it's better if you just aren't in the loop on those.
Danny, man, you gotta tilt down.
All right, fine. You why don't you and Alabama Dog and Scott and Jimmy and Herky and Jerky and whoever else.
Herky and Jerky.
Why don't you just do the show? Go ahead and do it. Go.
Wait, is
Go
that?
ahead.
Do you know the
Go
name
ahead.
of our freelancers? I forget their names.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do your show. I'll just sit back and listen.
Okay. Hey, Dane, you might need to take a break.
Great advice.
Okay. Hey, I know Carlin's not listening, but we're gonna take a short commercial break.
Wait,
Um,
wait. I'm listening.
This is a short. This
I'm
is
right
a short
here.
commercial. No, we need to take a commercial break.
We're not doing a
This is
commercial break.
This is part of our campaign
We don't do
for Bama
we
Dog.
don't do commercials.
This is
That's
for
not what we
Bama
do.
Dog. This is for Bama Dog's initiative to be the next James Bond. And
No, we're not doing
play,
commercials.
Making beautiful
Scott,
things,
play
Carlin.
3, 2.
No.
One name above all others. One name that changed the course of history. Bama Dog. Take action and achieve your dreams. Gain authenticity and accountability like never before. Help Bama Dog become the next James Bond. And watch the international phenomenon get taken to the next level. Alabama Dog. He's the future. Carefully crafted by Bama Creative Group, copyright 2015.
Wow.
I love
Guys.
that commercial. Good job, guys. Good job. Aaron,
Bama
We've
Dog
really
dot
outdone
com.
ourselves.
Dot
That was
com.
good.
Dot com.
That was really good.
are geniuses.
What
Absolute
did you think of that?
geniuses.
I mean, we just have to think about the strategy here. You know, we have to think about, like, why did you make the decisions that you made for that? It's not about just being creative. It's not about just making something that's beautiful or whatever. It's about, like, why? What's the reason you do it? What's your purpose? And I don't know what the purpose was there. I didn't get a purpose out of it.
So when that helps us win a potty, I'm sure you won't be so concerned about the mission or the greater purpose or our thought process behind it. We're just doing it. We're pushing stuff out there.
Because you think that's going to win the potty. Okay, all right.
So you had mentioned that we are talking about The Spy Who Loved Me this episode.
Yeah, right off the bat, I started
This
the
is
show.
this is our last film we're covering, starring Roger Moore, the best Bond who is on my dodgeball team. Let's just delve into it.
We've already dove into it.
We have.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's,
that's
all
all
we've
we
been
do.
talking about.
That's all we do. So last film that we covered, last episode, last month, A View to a Kill, and The Spy Who Loved Me, both start off with Bond in a ski chase action scene. Let's talk about this one. Do you prefer this one more than A View to a Kills?
Oh, for sure.
For sure, no doubt in your mind.
No doubt in my mind. Totally prefer this one.
Why is that?
So I like this because it directly ties in to a major plot point of the movie. You know, it's its own little mini adventure, but it sets up one little piece that we find out later. And yeah, it's a little trite, it's a little predictable, but Bond kills the lover of Anya, who he'll have to deal with that later. He'll have to meet her, have to work with her later, and that will be revealed eventually that he'd killed
Unbeknownst to him.
unbeknownst to him, just because it's a part of it. It's just, he doesn't do it. It's not personal to him. That's just what he does.
It's not even a dramatic point in the chase. It's just like he's one of the guys.
Right. It's just like, exactly. Like, we see these movies all the time. Bond just killing people right and left. We never think about these people because they're just goons. But in this particular case, one of these just random people is important, and it kind of comes back to bite him. Maybe not as much as I would have liked it to have, but it kind of comes back to bite him later in this movie. And so from that standpoint, I like this one better than A View to a Kill.
Yeah, I do like that it comes back a little bit. Otherwise, if it hadn't, it would just seem completely unnecessary. Like it was an excuse to have a ski chase scene with the Union Jack parachute coming out at the very end. It would seem very meaningless. It's a toss-up between the two. It's a toss-up between the two ski chase scenes. What I do love about the opening is the submarine scene, the opening in the submarine. I just love the direction of it. I love the tension that's building with everybody walking through the submarine and the water shaking, and he looks up through the periscope, and then it cuts. We don't know what he's seeing. We don't know what's going on. I thought that scene was so well directed. It was like that's the tension that I wish the rest of the movie had. Like, I feel like there's this ominous force that's coming and it's scary, and I don't know what it is. And it was really cool. I love that opening scene. And then we cut to the ski chase scene, and it becomes more like a typical James Bond movie. But I love that submarine opening.
This ski chase also had fewer Beach Boys songs in it.
It doesn't get more British than some Beach Boy music.
Well, it does get more British than the Union flag parachute.
Listen, the Union Jack was in the ice summer, or the ice boat.
I'm not mocking it. I'm saying, I mean, I like, that's part of it. That should be in every movie. There should be some sort of like Union Jack nod decor.
He just seemed very loyal to England in this movie. I mean, he mentions it in the very beginning. So does England. He has a line, and I mean, it's very, very English, very proud English. I think that's obviously because we're in stark contrast to another nation or a rival nation. So you have that rivalry. So you want to feel that patriotism to to England in this film.
Yeah, well, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
we
how
do.
we are with our dodgeball teams. You know, like we pride ourselves on our teams and who they are, and it's even more so when we face another team. So when we face each other, we're even more proud of our own team in the face of
course.
like I'm proud of my team in the face of your inferior team, because I'm like, wow, my team's so awesome compared to yours.
All right, dodgeball. So I believe it's I believe I'm up first this month, and if you
Yep.
want to look at our dodgeball teams, our list of players, you can go to podjamespod.tumblr.com. We have a dodgeball page on the right hand side where you can look at our current teams. So we pick characters from the movies. We have a limit of 10 characters or 10 players, and we gotta pick them from each film.
Yeah.
So
I like that you're explaining it, because that's good. 'Cause we have probably a good 4 million new listeners, and so it's good to set up
that would be amazing. That would blow our minds, our collective minds over here, if we had 4 million new listeners. So I'll just get right to it. This movie is chock full of opportunities for dodgeball teams. I'm looking, and I know Jaws was previously on your team, and you've since got rid of Jaws. I have a shark on my team. Jaws likes to kill sharks. In this film, he likes to bite them. So I'm a little bit scared about Jaws. I'm a little bit scared.
You're scared that I might pick Jaws because
No. I'm just thinking of potential dodgeball alliances. I'm thinking about the freight liner that picks up the submarines. I'm thinking about the submarine itself. The most valuable character in this film for my team would be the Lotus James Bond car.
Of course,
Lotus Esprit.
Of course. I knew
course.
it. I knew it. I knew that's what you were going to take. I knew it because I know you. I knew you were going to take the Lotus.
Listen, so if you haven't listened to our previous episodes, in our Goldfinger episode, I drafted the Aston Martin DB5. In the Die Another Day episode, I swapped out the DB5 for the V12, the Aston Martin Vanquish.
I don't really think anyone cares about your car history.
I'm going to swap out the Vanquish for my Lotus. If I'm going to have one car on my team, I want, like you had previously mentioned, my Q on my team, Desmond Llewellyn, was not really responsible for the Vanquish. So I need a Q car. And I have a team that is so dependent on water. I have the shark tank with the stealth boat.
Yes, we know. You've mentioned that you've got a shark. Yes. Okay,
I have
we
the
get
shark.
it.
I have the stealth boat. I have Fatima Blush, who is controlling the shark within the water. I need a car that is durable. I need a car that can go into the water.
I don't know
and
if
I
I'd
can
say
protect
it's
my
durable.
shark.
I mean, it seems like it kind of broke under very little pressure. Like it wasn't super durable, I would not say.
So I need a car that can defend my shark. I can defend my boat within the water. I can shoot the missiles. I can shoot the torpedoes. I'm going to miss the Vanquish, but honestly, you hit it one time and the cloaking device would malfunction. So I think this is as good as it gets, right here. So Lotus, you're welcome to the team.
It's so you. It's so you.
That's the best compliment you can give me, guys.
What?
Put the Lotus on the board. Yeah, take off the Vanquish.
Okay, let's talk about Barbara Bach.
All right, Lotus is up under winning team.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know if I did not pick anything. I didn't know if you were going to call me out on that. So I'll just let's just talk about Barbara Bach.
So wait,
Huh?
you're not picking anybody?
No, I'm not going to pick anybody.
You're not picking anybody on the team.
No, I'm not playing
this
the
movie.
dodgeball game this time. I'm not playing it this
What?
time. You and your cars and your boats and your sharks and your octopuses.
You have a character that was previously on your team that is killing sharks.
I'm
in
not
this
playing
movie.
this time your games, okay? Look, I was gonna
You
I was
you
gonna
have
pick
an
the
ocean
Lotus.
liner who
I
is
was gonna pick the
capturing
Lotus.
submarines.
The one time I was gonna go out and do something Aaron-like, and no, you had to go first. You had to go and take the Lotus. You took what I wanted, so no, I'm not gonna play the dodgeball game this time.
All right,
I have a great team. I don't
even better
mind me
team.
not. Yeah. Well, like 4 of your members of your team aren't even sentient.
The octopus is the driver.
Lotus
He's
can't
great.
drive around by itself. An octopus is an octopus. It's got
Octopus
like
is driving it.
jelly for a brain.
Oh, you think Octopussy would have an unintelligent octopus? Are you kidding me?
It's an octopus.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Barbara Bach, Bond girl in this movie.
Okay.
Great Bond girl.
She is great professionally.
Great professionally. What does that mean?
She's a strong female character career-wise, but personality-wise, I feel like she's still very susceptible to being an "Oh, James" type moments. In the grand scheme of things, I think she's on the stronger side of Bond girls. But you're saying you love
Yeah.
her. You love her. She's
Oh,
great.
I think she's great. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, she does have that "Oh, James" sort of thing
being-
going on.
For being a secret agent, for being a KGB agent, she does seem a bit helpless in almost every situation. I think there's one time where she tries to hit Jaws, and that's about it. And even then she's chasing Jaws through ancient Egyptian ruins in her heels, and she's still carrying her handbag. And I just don't understand it. Not to go all Jurassic World sexism on you, but like why is she doing that? I just don't understand it.
I don't know. I like her. I mean, is she my favorite? No, but I like her.
Yeah, I like her. In the grand scheme of things, I like her too. I think I like her because I like the way Roger Moore is played in this movie. I think this is his strongest film acting wise. I think he gives a very strong performance in this film.
There was, from what I gather, there was more of a break between Golden Gun and this movie than there was Live and Let Die and Golden Gun, and even going back from Diamonds Are Forever to Live and Let Die. So I think everyone had a little bit of time to kind of get refreshed from the cast. Certainly Roger Moore, I think, did. The writers changed, so we don't have Mankiewicz.
Refreshed.
We don't have Mankiewicz coming back and pulling in his Sheriff Pepper and all that
Nobody
stuff.
cuts and runs on Sheriff J.W. Pepper.
It has a little bit of a different feel, and I think it fits Roger Moore from a story perspective better than his previous 2 films did. So I would definitely agree that this is probably his best from an acting standpoint.
The scene that stands out is when Triple X mentions or asks him if he's responsible for killing her lover, who is also a KGB agent, and he defends himself, and he defends the job that they both signed up to do, and he's trying to not lose her, like he's torn apart, and that scene, I think that's the defining moment of Roger Moore's acting in all James Bond movies. Like that scene in particular, I guess, like we've talked about this before, and you mentioned in the For Your Eyes Only episode that these James Bond movies, the movies, we know the character of Bond. We're not going to get some great story about who he is as a character or this great internal development. But that scene is one of the few opportunities in Roger Moore's films where there is like a character realization, like what he does may hurt these other people, but it's part of the job and what they signed up to do.
This
was
was
a glimpse. It was a glimpse.
This was a way of Roger Moore. This is a case where Roger Moore was able to finally make the role his own, where previous films, in Live and Let Die, he's really, like we talked about when we talked about that movie, not really a good one to start with. It's so James Bond is a fish out of water kind of a story. That
Yeah.
to have the new guy do that story as his first film was a really bad idea. And then the next movie, Golden Gun, he's doing a lot of like Connery types of things, like being very violent towards I think the Maud Adams character, and just doing some things that make you not like him, but that's not more. And we talked about it that here. Finally, we have more saying in a way with this scene. Even this is the Bond I want to be.
Yeah. Even when Triple X mentions Tracy, and he gets like he hides behind that too. Like there's just little glimpses there. That I know we had mentioned that the For Your Eyes Only connection with Tracy was one of the best connections, but I had forgotten that Triple X mentions Tracy to him when they first meet. That just proves your theory that, like, yes, this is the same James Bond as the previous actors' Bonds and all that stuff. And I get what you're saying. I think, you know, he's a few movies into his run here. He's starting to feel it. Like this is a good high point where he's not burnt out on it yet. Like he's just now trying to understand how he can make this his own.
Yeah, he made it his own by booting out Sheriff Pepper.
Nobody cuts the run on Sheriff J.W. Pepper.
Sheriff
What do you think?
Pepper.
What do you think about that? That giant underwater base.
There's some definite problems in this movie. And I know at the end of this film it says James Bond will be back in For Your Eyes Only, but obviously Star Wars happens, so producers fast-tracked Moonraker, which Moonraker went on to be super successful. I think the most successful until GoldenEye.
Which is absurd.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many similarities there are between The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. I mean, we got the same
Oh,
director. We have villains who are both hellbent on creating new civilizations. Who one is underwater, one is in space. They both are teaming up. They're trying to get several different governments involved. They're trying to extinguish everybody on Earth. We have in Spy Who Loved Me, we have American Navy sailors who are fighting, and this like final battle scene that's super boring and nobody cares about all that stuff that's going on. It goes on for like 15 minutes. In Moonraker, we have Marines out in space shooting up. It's like, who cares? It's just really boring action.
I don't know. I liked the final battle on the station with the Navy guys much more than the Moonraker scene.
Man, I mean, maybe because it was more realistic.
I like the camaraderie that was sort of developing between Bond and the guys, and there was like the admiral or the captain or whoever got killed, and so other guys had to take over. And I mean, that was so. I guess I see what you're saying. Like, it was a little bit, who cares? Like, these are characters we really hadn't been following, and now we're suddenly supposed to care about them. But that said, I looking at it from Bond's perspective, like, he's thrust in the situation, and I see it as him inspiring these guys to raise their game.
I guess the thing that bothered me the most is that the villain is almost he's just not there almost the entire film. We don't even get introduced into, or Bond doesn't get introduced to him until almost the third act. And as opposed to A View to a Kill we talked about before, there's this slow build, there's this relationship being built. And in this film, I know there was controversy where it was originally supposed to be like a Spectre film and it's supposed to be Blofeld, but then the legal action started. But he's just non-existent. In the final battle, he's not even there. There's no drama. He doesn't even care. He's back at his base. He's got Triple X. There's just no, I guess there's just no drama. And when they set up the missiles, it's like there's no retaliation to try to stop them from re-signaling the missiles. There's just anticlimactic. That whole fight scene, I don't know, it reminded me a lot of the Thunderball underwater fight scene when there's 50 guys fighting underwater and we see these two fight, and there's some explosions, and there's some explosions, and there's some more people fighting, and none of it really matters.
Did they save the world?
Okay, and that way, yes, they saved the world. I guess it matters.
Okay.
But I guess I just saw a lot of similarities between this film, and Moonraker that maybe I hadn't seen before or
Yeah.
realized before. And Moonraker gets the shaft. Obviously, we both put it in our bottom. But in Moonraker, at least we get to know the villain even more so.
Ooh, but he's a horrible villain.
Oh, he's a horrible villain.
in
And I wanna
Moonraker.
say-
At least this guy is not Drax.
But
Now-
but Stromberg, I don't think he's horrible, but we also don't get the time to, I think, fully realize that he may be a horrible villain.
That's true.
They save him by not giving him much screen time.
Do you think if it had been Blofeld, that would have improved it for you?
Oh yeah, totally,
'Cause it
because
wouldn't have-
there would have been that precedent in previous films where he's just this presence that you know he's there, and he has a history. You know, if it was Blofeld, it would have been way better.
This would have been a good point to bring him back. I mean, yeah, he was in Diamonds Are Forever, but then you would have had a 2-movie break. And then not only that, but this would have been a 3-movie break from the grandiose, like really hyped up base. So we hadn't had that in the 3 previous movies. There was the whatever was at the end of Diamonds Are Forever, the oil rig, but that's a very real kind of thing. It's not like a base and a volcano like we'd had in
Golden Gun. The Golden Gun that's a pretty sophisticated base.
I guess, but it's not like giant volcano with 300 terrorists essentially manning every last little station and nook and cranny, and there's like carts driving people everywhere. You know, it's like the volcano scale almost is what we have here, and we have a return to that. We had a break from it, and so it's fine to bring it back.
Yeah. I mean, if this had been a Spectre film and maybe relaunched that idea, I may have felt differently. I just felt like Stromberg was almost immediately forgettable. Even when the final duel between him and Bond, it's like really, like that was it. Bond essentially just dodged something and then shot him, and that was it. And then there was no afterthought. I mean, Jaws is more the main villain in this film than anybody else, and that's not. I mean, we see that in From Russia with Love, where a henchman is the main villain throughout the entire film, and we see it again here with Jaws. But I gotta tell you, I don't know how you feel about Jaws in this film. I think he's worth talking about here, because we previously seen Moonraker, Jaws' other film, and in this film, again, much like Moonraker, where it's the joke where surely Jaws dies, but somehow he comes back alive, or he stays alive. In this film, it's really no different. I mean, by the end of the film, some of his survival scenarios are just so out there. And I'll just go ahead and say it. I think, I know Jaws he's an iconic villain, but he's just not threatening at all in my mind. I mean, he's slow, and when he kills these people, I mean, think about the guy he chased right by the pyramids. The guy just stands there, looks at Jaws, and he just lets Jaws like grab him. It's like run away, hit him, try to do something. Every scene that Jaws is in is like there's no suspense. He just doesn't seem threatening at all. He doesn't seem evil and this mysterious guy like he could be. He's like that punchline joke. And I don't understand it. Even when Bond fights him, it's like in slow motion, and I'm like, what's going on here?
I think because we watch these out of order, it's interesting to look at this movie now after having seen Moonraker, even though this one came first. And so I wonder how much that's playing into your feelings about Jaws.
Maybe. I mean, so
because I don't like I agree, like I think I see what you're saying, and I agree that like some of that, just the way it's shot, it's not as threatening, but I think he is an imposing figure and he has a visual. I don't disagree that there's an absurdity to his immortality, so to speak.
Yeah.
but
And-
it's got like this, almost like this horror. He's got this horror vibe to him. Like he is almost like a character that's transplanted from a horror movie. And you see that a lot in horror films where, like, okay, why are you not running from this guy?
Yeah.
How is this person not dying? You know, and it's that
Yeah.
kind of character showing up in a Bond film. And I think that's how I've always sort of justified Jaws here, is that he's just sort of like a horror film transplant.
Maybe it's because we see him survive instead of just cutting to when he's in the next scene and leaving it as a mystery. Like I like it when Jaws is more of the mysterious character, where, so for example, like when they go to some of the Egyptian ruins and all of a sudden he's up top, like looking down at them. Like, how did he get up there? We don't know. We don't need to know. He's just this kind of mysterious guy who's slow moving. He's big. He's got this large presence. And the less we see Jaws fight or do anything with his teeth, the better.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of see, like, so for example, like I'm thinking like supernatural fake jaw type thing. So Silva from Skyfall, the implants are like
Skyfall.
the jaw like implant, like where it's a little bit of a supernatural element to it, but he's scary and it's a little bit mysterious. It's intriguing, but it's like they don't go a whole lot into it. In Jaws, I felt like it could have been something very similar. Like, I don't know. Instead, it just becomes too much of a camp, too much camp. And I can't help but think of Jaws from the GoldenEye Egyptian level, where he's just impossible.
You're just still bitter
He's just
about
tough
that.
to kill. Yeah, Jaws in the Egyptian, just Jaws in general in GoldenEye. Like, you can't miss him.
Well, we're at that point where it's time to place this movie into a tier, a top tier or middle tier or bottom tier. And we haven't really talked about this in a while, but I think it's worth sort of reviewing where we're at with these films. But maybe we'll do that after we've placed this movie in our tiers. Do you want to go
Sure.
first?
So, Spy Who Loved Me, I'm going to put this film in my middle. I think
Middle.
maybe you see this differently. I almost get a sense that it's universally regarded as Roger Moore's best films.
And I agree. You know, you said last time Vito Kill is his best, and I didn't argue with you. I did think it's strong enough to put in my middle, but I don't think it's. I didn't think it's his best. Maybe his second best.
Yeah.
But I also like For Your Eyes Only. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. But I think this is one of his best. I don't think it deserves maybe all the accolades it gets, because I think it's not a too terribly strong movie, but there are some strong things about it. But Triple X, about Moore's performance, some of the realism in there it's nice, but I can't put it any higher than a middle. So middle for me.
So let me just continue on. I do think this is Roger Moore's best Bond film. Like you said, this is Roger Moore's best performance. But not only that, I think it's one of the best overall films. This Bond girl, better than Tanya Roberts. I think is probably some of the best chemistry he has with a Bond girl of all of his films. Certainly better than the two previous ones, and I think better than all of them. So this is probably the best Bond girl he has interaction with. The only thing I think A View to Kill has over this is the villain. But overall, this movie just it feels more like James Bond, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so
Well, it's very classic. Yeah.
Yeah, very classic. I want to put this in my top.
It's in your top. I saw that coming a mile away. You're getting so predictable, Carlin.
Oh, I saw that you were going to put this in your bottom. So
I didn't put it in my bottom.
yeah, whatever.
One other thing. I don't know if you caught this, but Triple X refers to Q as by his real name in this film.
Yeah, Major Boothroyd.
Major Boothroyd. Mm-hmm. I think maybe correct me if I'm wrong, which I know you would, but this is the first and only time he's referred to as that name. Desmond Llewellyn is referred to as Major Boothroyd in any of these films. And I know that the previous, in Dr. No, Desmond Llewellyn wasn't in that film and he wasn't referred to as Q, but M does refer to him as Major Boothroyd. But the next film, From Russia with Love, Q's never referred to as any name. But I just thought that was really interesting.
He's referred to as Quartermaster in From Russia with Love.
And the quartermaster, and like from Q Branch, like Q Branch has developed this. I don't know. I picked that up, or I'm like, what did she call him? Did she just call him by his name? I thought it was an interesting little Easter egg that the writers just threw in for no real reason.
What do they call him on the dodgeball team?
Oh, he only goes by Q now. He demands
Okay.
only be known as Q.
Okay.
The cameraman started calling him Major Boothroyd, and that's why I had to get rid of him a while back.
Oh, okay. I wondered what was going on there.
Yeah.
Boat makeout scene?
Heck yes.
Yeah. One of the classic ones.
Yeah, one of the best. One of the best. I would put this right behind The Man with the Golden Guns boat makeout scene.
Okay. All right, so I just want to recap because we're getting into some interesting territory here with our Bond film coverage. So let's start with boat makeout scene. We have had 8 boat makeout scenes and 14 movies that ended without a boat makeout scene. That's not a bad ratio.
That's a great percentage.
That is
yes, boat makeout scenes.
Yeah.
8 of the films so far.
8 of the films, counting Spy Who Loved Me, 8 boat makeout scene, 14 no boat makeout scene. This is, of course, only counting the official Bond films. So we're not counting the Casino Royale early versions. We're not counting James Bond Jr., all that stuff.
Yeah.
Never Say
Never
Never
Say
Again.
Never Again. 007 seen it.
007 seen it. Right, we're not counting that. Okay, so so my totals, I have 8 movies that I've categorized as being in my top tier. I have 9 in the middle, and I have 5 in the bottom tier.
You're just so positive about these films, Carl.
Well, I'm a Bond fan. It makes sense.
It's great.
Where you, on the other hand, you have 6 in your top, 7 in your middle, and 9 in your bottom tier.
See, I got Live and Let Die in my bottom.
We don't need
Octopussy, License
Let me
to
just
Kill.
tell you, if you were a listener and you
Quantum
want to see the
Solace,
specific
Honor Majesty's
ratings,
Secret
you can
Service,
go
Moonraker,
to
For Your Eyes Only,
podjamespod.com/ratings,
Thunderball,
and you can get the entire
Die Another
breakdown.
Day.
But that's where we're at. So we only have a couple of movies left to cover. One of those is one we talk about. You talk about it on this episode. We talk about it all the time.
Skyfall.
Skyfall. And I think just because that's really the only one we have at this point to cover until Spectre comes out.
I can't wait.
I think that's where we're at. We're at the time to cover Skyfall.
We gotta do Skyfall. Yep, it's time.
And
I'm
so
excited.
next episode, Skyfall. Which only makes sense because we talked about Skyfall this time, so it makes sense that for our Skyfall episode we hit the 6 million downloads mark. That's great. That's good.
Everybody's gonna be watching it to get prepared for Spectre.
Well, we get that marketing plan in place. We'll do it.
Danny, you can shut the camera off now.
Bye, Carlin.
Yeah, we're done.
I'll send you
We're
a
done.
copy when I have my movie done.
See you, man.
Well, I guess we'll talk to you next month.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Adios.
All right. Goodbye.